Welcome to the first ever episode of the Secret to Success podcast. And this one is a brief introduction to me, Simon Frewin, and I'm going to take you through what's made me start this podcast briefly, hopefully won't waffle on too long, and what I want to hopefully achieve from it. I've been in business for 10 years. I was in sport in a professional environment on and off for 5 years, and I've not always had the greatest of success in any of it. I found it really difficult. I've had, I suppose, an element of success to some people. And what I'm trying to find is what is the secret to success to most? And actually, not necessarily from the top 0.1%, like a Richard Branson as an example, which I'm not saying I'll be getting a Richard Branson on the pod, but I want to find people that have found success in their own lanes and whatever success means to them. And success to some people could be, getting up and being the most successful and greatest school teacher that any kid has ever come across, to playing for your country at rugby, to getting a record album, through to creating a personal brand online. There's success in so many different ways in this life. I think we only really celebrate the real success, the people we put on pedestals. And for me now, I'm trying to find what success means to different individuals. I've gone through a little bit of soul searching and self-awareness, or a bit of a self-awareness exercise recently in the last 2 years, trying to find out what makes me tick, what works for me. And I suppose I've made lots of mistakes, as we all have. And I don't want to keep making the same mistakes through life, personally and in business. And I suppose that's what's made me start this. I want to understand how I can get better and do better things from people that have done great things in their own lives. And I suppose some of it is not necessarily trying to chase being a billionaire or trying to chase being a millionaire or anything monetary or anything materialistic. I suppose I want to try and find a way of finding success in life that is happiness and contentment in each and every day. And I suppose that's what I'm trying to find from people, what works for them, how they get there, and what have they learned along the way, I suppose. The first few episodes are going to be friends of mine, people I know quite well, and hopefully I'll branch out into people that I've never met or spoken to before, just to understand what has gone on through life. That's a little bit about what I want to achieve from the pod. I suppose there's a little bit about me. As I said, I've been in business for 10 years and sport for 5. At the time of recording this, I'm 37, going through some sort of personal change. I have a little girl. And I really want to try and work out what I've sort of done wrong. We've gone through lots of business property bits. I'm a property entrepreneur predominantly. I love business. I love different types of business. And I have made loads of mistakes, a little bit through ego, a little bit circumstantial through COVID. I've had property deals go wrong that have cost lots of money, cost friendships, cost relationships. And yeah, I'm pressing the reset button, trying to untangle some of the mess. I coach property now. I want to coach more than property. I want to coach property and wealth. I want to teach people how to build wealth well and safely and invest well and safely. So I'm trying to build that. And some of that has come from a little bit of, and now as I'm building this course and I've got people online, I have this constant fear of imposter syndrome. Do I know enough to take people's money? The moment you start teaching anything in property or in life, the trolls online or social media instantly label you as a guru. And if you do so well, why do you coach? Why do you coach a course? Some of it is I've not done so well, so I need to coach as well. Some of it is, I use this analogy a bit, your teacher at school was not at the Battle of 1066. That does not mean they cannot teach you about the history of the world. In property and wealth, I suppose, I want to pass on some of the knowledge that I've got over the last 10 years. That's something that I've definitely got lots of, and experience of things that have gone right or wrong. So the reason for this podcast and the reason for me starting this, and everybody wants to start a podcast these days, I suppose, is for me to continue to develop myself and learn off others that I can then pass on to people that are paying me to teach them how to do well in property and in business. And I suppose that's the other part is I want to create or help people to have an investment business and not just ad hoc invest in property. Again, just a little bit more of a backstory for me. I left college at 16. I was capable at school, but never that fantastic. I didn't work hard enough. I then became an electrician. I did an apprenticeship to be an electrician, did that for 4 years before qualifying as an electrician. And the day I qualified, or like just 2 days before I qualified to be an electrician, I got a call to become a contract to play professional rugby and play in the championship, which is tier 2 or level 2 of rugby, just below the Premiership. And I got paid sweeties, as in like £1,000 a month. It was nothing. But I didn't care. I just wanted to follow my dream. I was always a massive rugby fan, still am, and I really loved being able to get paid to play something that I loved doing. I continued that for a few years, and that led me to go to New Zealand. I travelled around New Zealand whilst playing some rugby, and got the passion and interest for hospitality, which is a big thing in New Zealand and Australia. So when I came back, I didn't love being an electrician, and I wasn't quite good enough to continue my professional rugby career, if you could call it a career. And I went into hospitality. I opened a restaurant in Huddersfield. I had it for 6 years, had its challenges. I opened it so naively. I think I was 24, 25 at the time. So naive. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to sell. I just opened the doors and thought people would come. I tried to create the best product I could. So I became a real student of coffee. I entered coffee competitions. I employed an incredible chef who then we got into like the Waitrose Good Food Guide, which is a really well-established and well thought of, book to be in and part of. And we grew it. We grew it quite well. It was the wrong location, definitely, in Huddersfield on the edge of the university. I thought we'd get more out of it. And maybe the product was wrong as well. Accessibility, parking, convenience, there wasn't really much of it. Dining town. So there was lots of stuff that I did wrong in that, but also hospitality is a brutal industry. Halfway through that, I suppose 3 years in, I realised that was never going to create me the life I did. I started in property. The problem I had when I was starting and doing the restaurant is that we were always in debt. We started in debt and then never got ourselves out of debt. So I was always chasing the next thing. So started in property, started to do HMOs, which was the house of multiple occupancy, which are like student houses, if you will. It was for professionals, but you share a kitchen. They were a bit big. The projects were a bit big to start with. Then I went up to new builds. That was a bit big, like building new houses. Then it was COVID. I continued to build new builds. I was always digging myself out of the previous hole of doing something that was too big and beyond my capabilities. I suppose, to be honest, it came to a head a couple of years ago. And I pressed reset, started going back to basic, buy-to-let properties, sourcing for people. And in the background, I've enjoyed teaching, and it's something that I think I'm good at. I think I'm better at consultancy and guidance than I'm necessarily taking my own advice at times. Learning a little bit about myself and how I work, a little bit chaotic, big ideas and good ideas, not bad at management, but poor execution and detail. And that takes to the present day, really. So in this, I'd like to share some of my experiences and share experiences from other people. And I'm looking forward to meeting lots of people through it and having good conversations with people that I wouldn't normally have, even with mates that I know. I can ask them questions that I probably wouldn't do if we were just having a coffee over breakfast. It'd be slightly differently. So that is a little bit about me. I hope you enjoy the pod. I'd always appreciate some support. This will be out on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I have an Instagram channel, the Simon Frewin across the board. I have multiple things going on that would be good to share. We'll try and share a bit of warts and all and a little bit more, I suppose, authenticity. I suppose social media has become this sort of polished, almost TV these days. And I think we are wanting a little bit more of real and a little bit less fake as it is, which is what it's really become. So I'm going to try and put a little bit of that out there. So I hope you enjoy the pod. I'm Simon, and thanks for listening.